Salofalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuiki. Coming up,
it's something that we should not see. A 19-year-old with her whole life in front of her. It's sad.
dengue fever claims 2 lives in Tonga. Also, Solomon Islands Parliament's adjourned for next week, and
we have seen virtually nothing in the way of federal funding to support.
Mariana Islands draws renewed attention from US military. Tonga's Minister of Health has confirmed 2 deaths from dengue fever at Viola Hospital last week. The deaths were a 7-month-old baby and a 19-year-old girl. The Tongan government declared a dengue fever outbreak in the kingdom in February. I spoke with Tonga's Minister for Health, Dr. Ana Akawola, about the cases.
Yes, I can confirm them. First is a 19-year-old who was admitted into medical ward, but she died within 2 days in the hospital. She came in, she was really sick. Her platelets were low at the time she was admitted. I think despite all the efforts in trying to save her, everything was too late. Most likely she had multi-organ failure by that time. The other one is a 7-month-old baby from another village, also in Tongatapu. So both deaths had been in Tongatapu, not from the outer islands.
And you suspect that the type of dengue fever
dengue shock syndrome that they died of. The only dengue type, serotype that we have in Tonga that we know of at present is dengue type 2. But after these 2 deaths, I asked the staff to please check again with the newly diagnosed dengue fever patients, particularly the ones that are admitted to the hospital, to get that checkup as well, because we may also have dengue type 3 circulating around, because that's what's happening in Fiji at the moment. They have dengue 2 and 3.
Right, and as I understand, the blood samples have been sent to New Zealand?
Some of the blood, so the first few blood samples had to be sent to New Zealand because we did not have the PCR testing at the time, and this was to confirm. We tested them with rapid test first. The first few cases that came positive through our rapid test were sent to Australia, I think, for confirmation. Came back negative, and then 1 case came back positive. So once that one was positive, we knew that dengue was circulating in the community. Plus, there were a few people with all the symptoms of dengue fever. We had quickly been able to get the cartridges to do the testing for dengue fever also. So we did test for them here. We are able to do the confirmation test here in Tonga. It's just that the serotyping we cannot do in Tonga, but for confirmation of dengue fever, we can do that in Tonga. So now we can do the rapid test, which is what we're using right now. But if someone is very sick, then we also do the confirmation as well.
So for the 2 death cases, the blood samples from those cases, they've been sent to New Zealand?
I think one of them was there was not enough blood sample, but if they have a dengue type 3, say, they won't be the only ones that have it. So we'll have to pick some from the community as well to retest for serotyping of their testing of their blood to see if dengue type 3 had arrived in Tonga.
Okay, so at the moment it's not clear whether they died from type 3 dengue fever.
Type 3 or type 2.
Type
yeah.
3 or type 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Minister, can you break down what's the difference between type 3 dengue fever and types?
So with dengue fever, there are 4 serotypes. There's a talk about a 5th one as well, but let's just stay with the 4 serotypes. So if you have been infected with one of those serotypes, you will never, you're immune for life for that. Even if someone has got dengue fever and a mosquito goes from, say, I've had dengue fever in the past and that was type 2. Even if I get someone's blood with a virus injected into me by a mosquito, I'll not get it because I'm immune against type 2. And that's why we are seeing only a certain, age group that this dengue fever is affecting. Mostly, it's 10 to 19 years old. And we think that this is the circulating type 2 that we tested for and found out in the beginning. This lot may have not been infected with type 2, so they had not been exposed to the dengue virus. So if I have type 1 and I get in the past, I won't get dengue type 1 again. If I have type 2, which I suspect I've had it, because with this circulating dengue fever, I've never had I'm sick from it, symptomatic. So I won't get it again. I won't get that. So the more times that you get dengue fever, is the more chance that you will get dengue shock syndrome or you will get really sick with dengue fever.
So at the moment, overall, how many cases of dengue fever are there in Tonga?
So these are cumulative confirmed cases tested positive with, we use the rapid tests because there have been too many people coming in with dengue-like fever. The cumulative positive testing were 588, and this is the last SITREP that was done on the 28th, which was yesterday. So 588 cases positive. But we still see people coming in with dengue-like syndrome because of high fever, lethargy, no energy, decreased appetite, a bit of dizziness, body ache, headache, particularly behind the eyes. So we even though their testing was negative, we still put it down as dengue-like fever. So that number is much more than the 588 positive cases that we have reported.
And what's the government's response so far towards the dengue fever outbreak, and what will the government do if it is confirmed that there is type 3 dengue fever in the country?
So it's just a step up of what we already done. So in the beginning, we announced that dengue fever, once we were able to confirm that we had a positive, that was confirmed from New Zealand or Australia, I don't know where they send the blood to. Once that was confirmed, that we had a patient with dengue fever, we announced it through a press conference, so to alert people about dengue fever. And with that, we do a lot of risk communications where our doctors and our health promotion officers go on the radio and talk about getting rid of the mosquito breeding areas, or rubbish. Generally, it's whatever container that can collect water. We advise the public to do a general cleaning up, and the government has been very supportive through the member of parliaments. They organized their areas of where they constituencies to have these cleanup campaign for Tonga. So we've done the campaigns. I do think it would have been worse without the campaigns that we've had on the radio and we've had with the members of parliament as well.
Hey, thank you, Minister, for your time. That's the end of our talanoa. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? You're welcome.
Thank you so much for your interest. We're doing our best to try and see this epidemic through, and hopefully, it will decrease and we'll eventually get rid of it. We don't want dengue fever to be, to just continue to happen in public, because we really don't want these deaths, because it's something that we should not see. A 19-year-old with her whole life in front of her. It's sad. They've just started their life and then they die because of dengue fever. But thank you for your interest, and I hope that some of the people will hear and tell their relatives at home to try and do the cleaning up, general cleaning up, so that we get rid of the breeding ground for mosquitoes.
Several health outbreaks are being monitored across the Pacific, including the flu in Niue and dengue in Tonga and Fiji. Meanwhile, the funeral for the 12-year-old boy from Samoa who died from dengue was held on Monday. The Solomon Islands Parliament is adjourned until next Tuesday, when a motion of no confidence against the Prime Minister will be debated. The motion was submitted by MP Gordon Darcy Lilo. Moira Tule Patela on the events.
On Monday, Parliament adjourned due to a lack of quorum after only 16 out of 49 MPs were present in the House. Then, later in the day, Clerk of Parliament Jefferson Hullo confirmed that Central Honiara MP Gordon Darcy Lilo submitted a no-confidence motion against Prime Minister Jeremiah Manele. This is the second time Mr Lilo has filed a no-confidence motion against Mr Manele, after withdrawing the previous one in December due to a lack of support. Parliament met briefly again this morning, and following formalities, the Speaker, Sir Patterson Oti, made this announcement.
Honourable members, the Prime Minister had earlier sought my permission to move a motion without notice under Standing Order 26.1, and I'm convinced that the motion is of public urgency as required under Standing Order 26.1, and therefore I have given my permission for him to move the motion of a special adjournment.
But before the Prime Minister could move the motion, the Leader of the Opposition, Matthew Wale, had this to say.
I just wish to put on record that the Prime Minister lacks a mandate of the House and therefore should not be in a position to determine by way of motions what the House should be doing. I wish that point to be recorded. Thank you.
Sir Patterson noted Mr Wale's comments, but he reminded him that the Prime Minister is still the Prime Minister until he's out of the office. The floor was then given to Jeremiah Manele.
Sir, the reason for this special adjournment, we all know the current political situation. I think it's important that we deal with this. Motion of no confidence has been noticed, to be moved on Tuesday, 6 May. So I think there is some sense of urgency given to the current situation.
Mr. Wale later said that Mr. Manele should step down immediately instead of dealing with the motion. Both leaders also appealed for calm in the country, with the Prime Minister asking people to respect the democratic process that will be underway when the motion of no confidence is moved.
As the US ramps up its military presence across the Pacific, one small island in the Northern Marianas is seeing big changes. Tinian, once a pivotal site during World War II, is drawing renewed attention from the Pentagon. But the expansion is being met with mixed emotions. Nina Rao visited Tinian and filed this report.
Hi, welcome to Tinian, thank you.
Hi, thank you. From the air, Tinian looks like a green patch in the blue Pacific. About 101 square kilometers in size, you can drive across it in under an hour. But it's big enough to hold a World War II-era airbase, once home to the atomic bombs that ended the war, and now a major U.S. military buildup.
Oh my gosh, this is huge clearing.
Deborah Fleming, a local hotel owner, is showing me around North Field, once the launch site for the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombers. Now, it's being refurbished under the U.S. military's Agile Combat Employment Doctrine, or ACE, designed to quickly disperse forces across the Pacific.
It alerts me, something imminent. But it's better to be prepared.
Fleming remembers when Tinian residents debated leasing land to the military decades ago.
What the promise was that they would build schools, hospitals.
Because of the military agreement with the United States that was reached back in 1975, creating the Commonwealth of the Northern Marianas and the military leased area.
Military historian Don Farrell explains the U.S. negotiated to lease 2/3 of Tinian for 50 years when the Covenant was written. The archipelago's governing document outlined the Northern Marianas' right to control its internal matters while granting the federal government sovereignty over its foreign affairs and defense. But while the island is now seeing nearly $1 billion in military contracts, Farrell says,
we have seen virtually nothing in the way of federal funding to help develop the island of Tinian for the people of Tinian. That is causing some friction.
Joint Region Marianas, which oversees installation management for all Department of Defense projects in the region, told RNZ there are no current plans to build a hospital or medical facilities on Tinian. In 2015, the Pentagon's blueprint for the CNMI Joint Military Training Facility included ripping out reefs, live bombing, and high-hazard training. The backlash was swift.
We pulled together and sued regarding the military buildup here.
The case went up to the Ninth Circuit Court. They lost. But Fleming says the fight wasn't for nothing.
They scaled down the CJMT, so there's not going to be a multi-spectrum bombing range here. Now it's going to be a firing range. More small scale.
Still, hundreds of acres of jungle are being cleared. While vegetation removal efforts are underway across Northfield, austere landings are already happening. A divert airfield near Tinian's airport is expected to finish construction by 2027. It'll provide an alternative landing site for the U.S. Air Force in case Guam's Anderson Air Force Base is unavailable or down.
The impact on this military buildup is brought the economic base for the island of Tinian 100-folds in taxes and job opportunities.
That's Edwin Alden, Tinian's mayor. Military contractors are paying more than double the island's minimum wage of $7.25. Alden says it's life-changing for locals with little work experience.
I just want to make sure that when they leave, we got something behind to sustain ourselves, which is tourism.
But with hotels booked out for years due to the military development, there's little room for tourists.
We're having problems in trying to make the tourists stay for longer, 3-4 days, because all of these rooms are taken.
The influx of contractors has sent housing costs soaring. A 2-bedroom used to cost $80,000. Now, a 1-bedroom can go for $180,000. Alan Perez is the mayor's financial advisor.
The demand was huge, the supply was limited, prices have gone up considerably.
Yeah. It's extremely expensive now. A lot of people can't find homes.
Historian Don Farrell says while some are benefiting from the jobs, most residents have no say in what happens.
Unfortunately, the people of Tinian don't have direct access to decision makers, right? So we usually don't know what's happening as far as the military is concerned. It's a federal issue, right? We are outside of the loop in communications.
Farrell says they often don't learn about decisions until after they're made. But this doesn't deter Deborah Fleming.
Honest to God, I'd rather be an American than be under Chinese or even Russia. Because there's due process. You have the freedom to speak. Yeah, you're guaranteed that right to speak.
She says suing your government isn't unpatriotic. It's what patriotism looks like.
New Zealand police have been providing assistance to the Bougainville Community Policing Initiative for 20 years. This work has seen a small team that is changed every year or so, liaising with community constables and advising them when appropriate. These days, the team is integrated into the Bougainville Police Service, but the New Zealand officers continue to play a role, as team leader Wayne Morirere told Don Wiseman.
New Zealand Police handed over full control. I think it was done by end of 2021, part of 2022.
The police partnership team is remaining there. What's the nature of the work now? Is it any different?
It's very similar to what it has been. We certainly have a strong focus on supporting the community police strategy, of which the auxiliary police are an integral part of, together with the Bougainville Police Service.
The people you've worked with, do they operate
Yes.
in a different way within the Bougainville Police Force, or do they operate as a typical Papua New Guinea police person?
Oh, no, they certainly operate a bit different to mainland Papua New Guinea police. Definitely a community focus in Bougainville. Going back to the peace agreement, it was the desire of the Bougainvillians to have a police service as opposed to a police force because they wanted to maintain focus on community relationships, and that's still the case today.
Well, I've been talking with a researcher, Dennis Kuiai.
Oh, yes.
Imagine you know Dennis. He mentioned...
I've met him once.
Well, he's mentioned to me about how important the community policing team is to Bougainville because Bougainville has this issue, and lots of parts of Papua New Guinea do, where the crimes committed, they're a symptom of far deeper issues within Bougainvillian society, much of it going back to trauma from the Civil War. Do you see that?
It is certainly discussed amongst the wider community that they are still dealing with the impacts of the conflict, and that's why they're so heavily focused on healing the community and the community auxiliary police being part of that healing process.
With the people that you're working with, do you actively recruit them yourselves?
No, certainly not. Currently, and this has been the case since the inception of the auxiliary police, they are from the community, selected by leaders within the community, and their names are put forward to the Bougainville Police Service as a preferred candidate to represent that particular community.
What's the nature of the involvement right now? As you say, it hasn't changed, but what do you do? How do you work alongside Bougainville Police?
We are here to advise them in a capability capacity. So if they have issues, currently one of the issues is abuse of alcohol and drugs. If they start to put together a response to that, they seek our advice and guidance, and we're happy to provide just from our experience in New Zealand. This has worked in New Zealand. It may or may not work here, but it's something you may want to look at. And they design the response and they implement it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then back to the drawing table, see how they can tweak that response and then go back out to try and deal with the issues.
When you look at an issue that police from New Zealand wouldn't have any experience with, like the sorcery accusations that seem to have become rife right across Papua New Guinea, and I understand that they've suddenly got quite bad in Bougainville, what advice are you able to give there?
Yeah, that sorcery, that's an interesting question because it's a firmly held belief. So it's not for us to convince them to do away with sorcery. Good heavens, no. The violence associated with the sorcery, that's a new phenomenon, and that's recently emerged. So where we're helpful in that space is providing advice and guidance around how to deal with the violence, which has become a part of that sorcery belief.
How much longer do you think the New Zealand team will be based in Bougainville?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. There's certainly a will amongst local Bougainvillian people to have New Zealand police here for as long as possible. And that decision rests with people way above my pay grade at the MFAT level and the New Zealand Police executive level.
How many people have you got there?
Myself and 5 advisors. I'm in Buka with one other. I have 2 advisors in Arawa, the central part of Bougainville, and 2 advisors in Bowen, the southern part.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.